While the woman was gathering wild greens, a seagull's wing brushed the child, causing him to stumble into a pool inside a sea cave. The husband was ready to dive in after him, but the wife stopped him, shaking her head. The boy had always been a natural swimmer. The child took a deep breath and dove under the water. As he swam through a crevice in the rocks, he came nose to nose with a giant red sea turtle and reached out to touch it, as if greeting a long-lost friend. But the father suddenly jumped into the water and forcibly pulled his son back to shore. 10 years later, the teenager swam with a group of sea turtles, communicating with them using unique throat sounds. One day at low tide, the beach was covered with dead fish belly up, and black water seeped from cracks in the ground. The wife spotted a white line 100 meters high on the horizon and pulled her husband, sprinting toward higher ground. The teenager rushed back to the beach from the safety of the coral reef. The tsunami, like a giant hand, smashed the bamboo grove, and he was thrown 30 meters by the blast of air. When he awoke, he found himself trapped in a cage of interwoven bamboo poles. He pushed aside the bamboo to reach his mother, who had a sharp splinter of wood lodged in her calf, but she urged, "Hurry, find your dad." He ran to the shore and blew a conch shell, and 5 sea turtles immediately gathered around. They used their shells to push aside floating planks until at dawn, they found the father clinging to half a mast adrift. The turtles gently nudged the man's back with their tails, finally bringing him to the shallows. 5 years later, the new bamboo grove had grown to twice a person's height, and the young man found a rusty glass bottle by the spring. That night, he stared at the starry sky all night and drew a sailboat pattern in the sand with a seashell. At dawn, his mother silently packed dried food, and his father tucked a sharpened stone knife into his belt. The young man leaped onto the back of the largest sea turtle, and the waves soon obscured his figure. 20 years later, the white-haired old man carved vertical lines on the cliff with a bamboo pole every day, and when he reached the 300th line, he coughed up blood. That night, he pointed at the moon and smiled at his wife, then his hand went limp. The woman held his body for 3 days and 3 nights, scales gradually covering her skin, and finally, she transformed into a red sea turtle and swam toward the deep sea, looking back at the island 4 times along the way.